Hey, Bruce,
Hey,
how you doing? We
are
made
we
it.
live on Facebook?
We are live on Facebook.
Okay, hello Facebook.
Guys, welcome to another edition of Talking Metal Live. We are streaming live on Facebook, and we have Erik Turner from Warrant joining us tonight, and a man who really needs no introduction, Bruce Kulick from Grand Funk Railroad, and of course Kiss. Bruce, you look great, man.
Oh, thank you. Flattery will
Hey,
get
Bruce.
you everywhere, but not really.
It looks like this quarantine's treating you well. I mean, you look rested. You doing okay?
It took me a little while to get adjusted and realizing what, is going to happen to live entertainment, which is a big part of my career. But I seem to have fell into the look for the silver linings, meaning let me enjoy what I can do at home. So I've been unbelievably busy, in some ways more busy than ever,
Right.
because there aren't those travel days to bookend everything. So, and now it's all about me providing this connection with my fans, which I'm very grateful for. And I'm working really hard at it, but the response is fantastic. So I have to, just stay on it. And I told John right before we started, actually, when we were setting it up, how I just finished, I'm experimenting now with lights in the house that a neighbor loaned me because I needed to do a really well-lit video of my solos for a project in Sweden. So every day is like a kind of a new trick. I'm learning new things all the time. You're not my first Zoom, guys, okay? I've been pretty used to it. In fact, it just happened with Eddie Trunk yesterday, but that's okay.
Oh, cool.
But I've always heard of Zoom, and I realized a lot of there were schools using it and other things like that, and I've done lots of things that all of them, none of them don't mean something. They were all powerful, and that's why I know when you invited me a week ago, actually, there wasn't enough time with like how I had my day scheduled, but I took the next opportunity, which is today.
Absolutely. Well,
so thanks for
thank you
inviting
so
me.
much for doing that, Bruce. And as you said, you might have more things and more interviews going on now because that's what people are doing. And you've learned to be your own television producer, lighting guy, and everything in your own house.
Yes. Oh, and even better than that, and here's another silver lining. I love Governor Cuomo's comment there. Even though I'm out in Nevada, I watched that news because I really admire him. And I'm a New Yorker, you know that, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
New York. I of course have done sessions for many years, just like I did that work for Ace, last year.
Right.
And I know we can get into that later. We know that we don't know when that's coming out now, which is pretty wise, unfortunately. But I contributed a solo for him, right? Unless you know something. But
no, I'll tell you. I'll break it a little. Well, actually, I can't break it, but I'll tell you offline.
So typically for me to record a solo, I go off to in LA. I had a guy that I could either go to or he'd come over with his Pro Tools, and I had the interface and the speakers in my home, and of course I got my guitars. But I always went somewhere. I never did it in my home, even though I have GarageBand on my iMac, and I've had, I did own Pro Tools for a while, but I didn't keep up with it, and that became a problem. Anyway, because of this Chris Jericho project that I'll make a mention of when we're chatting more, I realized I needed to be able to provide a solo for somebody that sounded, professional, sounded like me, something they can drop into their file because I ain't going nowhere. You know what I mean? And
right.
That's another new thing. And now I'm passing that on to other people like Todd Kearns, who's the singer from those cruise dates, and who, we had a great conversation this week, and now he's like, I bought my mic. I'm going to get ready. You know what I mean? Because I want to continue working with them. So now I've done like 4 sessions already in the house. It's great. I'm actually miking a small amp but a tube head and cabinet, and it's a lot of fun, and everyone's saying that it sounds terrific. And I'm really proud of that. It's really exciting. And now all of a sudden it's like, today was the day. All right, specific instructions, bright video of those solos playing, and then stand, don't do it sitting, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because the one I gave Chris Jericho for that project, which the song that I contributed to his quarantine thing with a K, which I'm doing something with them tomorrow. No came out. And the short story is that if first of all, Erik Singer tells me, and I'm very tight with Erik, and he goes, these guys, Kent and Joe from Nashville, they're big Kiss fans. They play with Luke Bryan. That's a huge country star, right? I said, I'm not really sure who they are. Then I look up their Facebook, and I could tell very accomplished Nashville guys, country more, but love Kiss, because I see people like Fran from the road crew for
from Kiss, right?
And then I see Keith LaRue, and I see other people like on their Facebook, and I'm going, all right, they've been to Kiss shows, they're big fans,
right.
So I'm in touch with them, and they go like, check out No, this is what we're working on. And I was just like, holy crap, the Joe guy like nailed my stuff, and I could never even think that he was a country guitar player. Sorry, but country's, look, he's just an accomplished musician. Kent played the drums great. Buddies with Erik, and then they go, all right, who's on bass? PJ Farley. Oh, rock dude.
Right.
Cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. Right. And then I'm like, so who's singing? Oh, Chris Jericho. I'm like, wow, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well, let's do it, and no, I was very impressed with that. And then, like I said, they're going like, well, look, we're sending you tracks next week. Can you put lead guitar on it? And I was like, oh shit, here I go. Got to learn GarageBand. Got to learn what to do, And then I jumped into it, trial and error, asking friends, what do you think? How does this sound? Is this going to work? And then it became, I still curse at the damn thing because I don't know what I'm doing half of the time. But trial and error is how you learn stuff. So, and that thing, I know, first of all, the excitement about that, and why I'm always going to give credit to another one of my important things that I could now include in my life. Meaning record at my home. I'm not saying I never want to see a studio again, but for the foreseeable future, I can do quality lead guitar work and maybe more. In fact, I can do some backing tracks. I'd love to do more with Lisa where we perform, and some songs that we'd like to do. Really hard for me to just do it where, what's going to happen when I go into the solo and there's nothing there? Or can't I just have a little click and a bass going, or just a slight rhythm guitar when I break? And I know you understand that. So now that I understand the damn program finally, I did do it pretty well on the iPad, but I didn't want to do it there. I realized I have the big iMac. I have my wife's laptop, which I could do it here too, but it's all working great, and I'm so excited about it. And the Chris Jericho thing, the reaction, first of all, just to tell you how cool it was, I get an email from Gene. He shares the No with me.
Wow.
Okay. He doesn't know that I already did the guitars for their second song, or the Chrome. Okay. But I thought that was really cool. And I saw that Chris just did some press for Spin Magazine that he shared with me this morning. And in the article, it mentions that Gene and Paul, and that, Chris is great friends with Paul, and he played my track. And he said, what do you think of the guitars? He said, well, that guy knows the parts. He said, well, it was Bruce, something like that.
That's great.
In the conversation. So that's really cool. So the fact that those guys in this, let's face it, would I have networked with them the same way without the pandemic? And I could never wish this on anyone, anything like this for the world, for all of us, with how we're dealing with things. Of course not. But like Governor Cuomo always said, you got to look for some of the silver linings here. Absolutely. Otherwise, it's the big damn, I call it the shit show, because it is. Everything's crazy. And we don't, and believe me, I got doctor friends and really smart people I talk to, because I want to keep politics out of any of this. That a virus doesn't know politics, and honestly, no one knows. My bright people go like, we don't know really. We're, but you don't have to make any decisions about going anywhere yet. So do what you're doing, and you know what I'm saying. So, and then of course the big announcement this week, which I was only tipped off, a few days before, of course, about the cruise being postponed.
Yep.
I mean, I wasn't surprised, but there it was, and they finally announced it. And I didn't read all the chatter about it. I'm sure there's some entertaining things there, but I thought Paul and Gene's messages were right on point.
Yeah, I saw both of the messages, and I thought that they were good, and they make complete sense. Now, one of the things that I haven't heard about yet, you might have, is will Cruise Fest still happen? Probably not, because you were going to do a lot of cool stuff with Ace at the Cruise pre-party.
Yeah. I went to that site this morning. It's kind of funny. I always feel like an investigator every day.
Yeah.
Just like I'll do it for your show. I did it this morning too. Right. I'm like, okay, what does it look like? I want to see what am I walking myself into? Even though, I have a lot of respect for you, and we've known each other a long time.
Thank you.
as not only professionally in the industry, but we're guitar geeks and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Anyone out there not notice that he's a guitar geek? I got a couple of
Right
little
there.
amps on my couch, but I can't like lift them up and show them. Anyway, but what was interesting was I went to the Kiss Cruisers site where they have that, kind of cool graphic of Ace and I, and they said that they were going to announce something tomorrow about what they're how they're going to handle it. Let's be honest. I mean, first of all, that maybe things could happen in October, maybe. But I'm not so bullish about that. But the point is, most people that are the fans that want to buy a ticket there, they're flying in from everywhere in the world to get on the boat at the end of the pre-cruise,
right?
Get on the cruise. So it wouldn't make any sense for me to think that they had a smart plan other than we're going to mirror what they figure out for the following year. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me. But I'm not the official word. I'm not the promoter, so I'm just guessing here. What confuses me more is the Motley Crue, Poison, Def Leppard, Joan Jett thing.
Correct.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
I'm sure we'll be hearing something about that soon. But Bruce, just to back up a little bit, because the Chris Jericho Quarantine project or band with a K. Now this is all 80s era Kiss stuff that they're focusing on, right?
That's what I don't know of like a third track yet, but I believe that's the narrative that Chris has always put out there. And honestly, I do know for a fact he's a huge fan of my era. Like when that book came out, I'm terrible with names. Greg Prado put out that book about my era, basically.
Right. I remember the book. Yeah. I don't know
about
the
that
title.
one. Help me out here. Whatever.
Take It Off? Was it Take It Off? Maybe.
Yes, Take It. Yeah,
Take It Off.
Yeah,
Take It Off.
Something like that, right? And then he reached out to me. I love Greg. He's writing an Aerosmith book now. He asked me for quotes, and then I'm sure he'll write a Hendrix book at some point. Whatever. He's going to do it all. and I remember he asked me. He goes like, "What do you think? Can you get someone to do a forward?" And I remember I thought of Chris, and I also thought of Andreas Carlson, who's that famous producer, songwriter guy, friends with Paul, and he was on a cruise a few years ago. He's another one. So I recommended both of his names. Chris did the forward for that. Okay.
Wow.
For Greg's book. I think his first concerts in Winnipeg where he grew up, and he's such a rock fan and he's such a maniac as a wrestler, as you know, he's high energy all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a brand. And I find it really, really, of course, for me, flattering. And then knowing what a star he is, that he gets excited when, we're geeking out over Kiss. And, for me, I appreciate that, but it's really, really interesting for me. So I'm so excited about that project, and the fact that I know Gene likes it and Paul thinks it's cool too. There's no downside. And he's really tight with Brent and Todd because they're Canadian.
Yeah.
Brent Fitz and Todd Kearns. And Brent actually grew up with him. It was really fun.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
cool.
In Winnipeg, I think he was at the same like either Asylum or Crazy Nights concert, with Brent. And Brent's brought up Chris many times because he knows all the Canadian guys and he knows Chris. And I was aware that maybe in the future, we can do something with his cruise. Because he has a cruise.
Yeah, he has a Jericho cruise, right?
Right. And it's a rock and wrestling thing because Fozzy performs,
Mm-hmm.
So that the connection's always really been there. But again, the silver lining of the pandemic is the fact that all of a sudden these people come together suddenly,
Right.
that probably would have been way too busy with all the commitments that everybody has with that band and that project. So it's the new world here.
I can't wait to hear what Chris and you and the guys have in store with that. That sounds very cool.
Sure.
And you mentioned Todd. Did you say you were doing some recording with Todd Kearns?
That's the goal. I mean, earlier this year, I remember doing some press because we were actually even hoping to maybe record a song or something like that before last year's cruise, Kiss Cruise 9. But really, with the sets that we put together, we couldn't do both. You got the job at hand, which is perform, killer music tight, and we do all these medleys, which are very complicated to put together and then to study and then to learn. 5 songs become one song that you have to learn, with
right,
transitions and everything. And it takes time. So we couldn't do any recording before that. And then as soon as the new year happened, I did some press that our intention was, because I already wrote some music that I was sharing with the guys that we were looking at. And I swear it was like the end of February was when I started to work again with both Zach, and Zach Throne's the other guy, the bass player who also sings great, and Todd. And then, March 11th, everything just changed, and everybody went into shock and all that. And really, I wouldn't even have known like how to get to step one. Yeah, we could do FaceTime writing sessions and all that. And then what do you do with it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So now the conversation has finally changed to, well, since we don't really know when it's going to be okay to actually get together and do it that way, we can continue this writing, and we're all going to work on our demos. So Zach's preparing like a garage band session for me from the song that I worked on with him. Todd dived in. I swear, I think he opened up GarageBand like this week. You know what I mean? That's huge news. I'm telling you, Canada, it should be the headlines of the, because I remember when I asked him like weeks ago, I go like, you have GarageBand on your laptop. Did you ever open it? Oh, I know it's there.
No, right.
Because I know him. He's like me. He goes to that guy's studio. In fact, he turned me on to a great guy here in town that I would go to and get recorded. This guy, Jimmy Romero, and he's tight with Todd. Sometimes I had to coordinate my schedule because Todd was busy with the guy and I needed to get in there for a session, so, but no offense to a Jimmy or any of these people who have studios. The more you could do at home anyway, when you can go into the bigger studio, get it right, you can actually use that as a template and then improve on that. I mean, Hot in the Shade. Okay. That's what happened.
Right.
So,
I like that.
And at least, so in this way, at least there's progress. There's movement with it. And, I affectionately call the guys, I always have fun with them, is they're the Vegas Mob, MOBB, members of Bruce's band.
Right.
Okay? I'm looking for a cool logo for that, okay?
Yeah.
Bruce Kulick featuring the Vegas Mob and the Vegas Mob, something like that. And it's funny when I group text with them, it comes up Mob.
The Mob, right.
And then one time, I swear, my iPad or my iPhone, all of a sudden it said, I swear, I didn't put it in. It said, Vegas Mob. And I was like, I didn't do that.
How did it get that? That's crazy.
It was really weird.
I believe it, though. I believe that.
Yeah, and I think maybe the iPhone knew that everyone's address was in Vegas.
Yeah. Weird things like that have been happening where I swear my phone is listening to me. I don't even think it's a conspiracy. I think it is.
Yep.
And adds, like, I was talking about a wireless once. I was not on the computer. I was physically talking about a wireless, and I was holding my phone. 30 minutes later, I look at my phone. There's an ad for a wireless system.
Yeah, it's an ad for a wireless. So maybe it just adjusted my group text of Vegas Mob. I love that. I got rid of it because it was too long. I want just MOBB.
The Mob. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. But
Bruce, you did another track. I think it was just a one-off with Joel from Whitesnake and Andreas from Sepultura, the Police song. And I want to hear about that. But I wanted to also tell you that I love that PRS that you were playing.
Yeah, it's a pretty guitar and it's a great sound. Well, look, this is what's happening now. I mean, my life was always about traveling for the gigs with Grand Funk, who, I love those guys. I have no clue when we can actually do our next date. You realize that. And that's a whole nother conversation. But in the meantime, okay, what can I do at home? So I see an email from a guy. I never heard of him, but he mentioned some players that I admire, okay? Joel in particular, okay? I think a last-minute guy he got on there was Monty Pittman, who I've played with, the Madonna guitar player, big ESP endorser, but he's a monster on the guitar. I only found out, here's what's so funny about it, because I'm anxious to contribute and learn and do things like this, okay? This guy, Gabe, I can't even pronounce his last name, something with a T. Apparently he's from Argentina. I didn't even know that, okay? I knew that today when I saw the YouTube, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, he hits me with a track. He wrote it professionally. I always judge, and like if someone wants me to do something for them, for a charity or for money, I want to see a normal email. I don't want to see it like all over the place, because you get what I'm saying, okay?
Yeah.
I type very professionally, not always, but certainly if I'm trying to make an impression on someone to respect me, it's going to be, Anyway, the emails were great. He was very clear about what was going on. The track was Synchronicity 2. I am a big Police fan. I was a Sting fan. I couldn't believe it when I met him years ago. he would be at SRR when Kiss was rehearsing for something, you know. And
Wow.
I was just like, and a very sweet man, very sweet, very bright.
Cool.
So anyway, I heard the track and I was like, wow, this could be cool. So then he sends me the file. This is literally my second official session in my home, right? I import it. And of course they tell you, okay, your section is like 3:30 to, 4 minutes or something like that. And you're going to plug in and play. And then, I kind of think about the track. I think about what I heard a little bit some of the other guys did. And then I got to figure out guitar. So, John, I have too many guitars, okay? Even though
Correct.
As a guitar collector like yourself, you can never have enough, okay?
Correct. That's true too.
So I thought about it, and I'm like, all right, first of all, they're in 440. That guitar is set up in 440, meaning concert pitch.
Okay, right.
I don't think I want to do anything with a Floyd Rose. I don't want to go, I'll just do very melodic. I could dig in. Maybe I could do it's a major chord kind of a song. Some of it's minor. Then it's going to be, the section I had was going to be a major thing. So I'm thinking more just a guitar that's not the Floyd Rose whammy bar thing. But I did keep the theme going. I thought, maybe let me have some fun with this. I should pull out the whammy pedal, okay?
Oh, right. I saw your pedals.
The only time I've ever used it before in my entire life was on the Carnival of Souls album, okay? You know what I'm saying? And I used it quite a bit on solos. That's why don't ask me to play the Hate solo. I have no idea. It's going, I don't know what setting I had on. My foot's moving. I'm moving around. I don't know. And it took me a really long time to like kind of figure it out a little bit. And then I just stuck with higher octave. Okay. You know what I mean? So meaning when you step on it, bam, it's going to go.
I've never even tried one of those, so I don't even know the feel of it.
It's a trip, especially the harmony thing. But that's the beginning of Owner of a Lonely Heart. Sorry,
Wow.
You know that.
I got
I think Tom Morello used that a lot.
Yeah, and
too.
Tom does it really well, actually. Yeah, there's an art to that, but there's so many choices because you could do harmonies, you could do just the octave thing. So I realized I did one solo that was like, I know you guys would have loved because it was like from another planet because everything sounded like, it was just too weird, And then I remember I even asked Lisa, I said, I need some help here because I wound up like doing 5 that I kept, and then I sat her down. I said, all right, here's a pad, 1 to 10. What you think of each one? Number 1, here we go. Boom.
Well, okay.
Number 2, what do you think? And I'm making a note. She makes a note. And then she did even more. I mean, she's fantastic in so many ways. Where I'm the guy that would just go 8, 6, 9.
Right.
She's got like a number, but then she describes it. Okay, she's descriptive. More 80s, much more melodic, very wild. You know what I mean? So,
it's great that she's a musician too, and a great singer, and so she knows, what she's talking about.
She doesn't play an instrument though. Okay.
Okay.
She's just, but in all defense, that was like a mean thing to say. I didn't mean it that way. Because when I communicate with her about music, when we set up these songs and we rehearse, she's not used to it. And John and any of you guys who play and any listeners that are musicians, let's take it from the top. Oh, no, the bridge. All right. A bar before the bridge. Here you go. Musicians speak a little.
Right.
No. Yeah. You come in on the upbeat of 1. No. The downbeat. Wait for this one. We talk. We have these cues.
Right. Different lingo.
And right. And I need to. No, I want the retard to start right here. And then we got to go over that. She's really getting used to it. I'm like camp counselor. I did that.
Right. Yeah, absolutely.
The rock and roll fantasy camp. But that's what I got to do with her. But yeah, she's creative and she's got a great voice and she's got an opinion. We have some things actually that that we need to plan and rehearse for now that are going to be different challenges for us, and we want to be a little unique with it. We have to be. It's just the two of us. Even if I make that backing track, it's still just the two of us. And I could do a little bit of vocals with her. Sadly, I'm not the singer that another person could support her with, but it's going to be fun. But anyway, we compare notes, right? Getting back to the solo. And then the one that she really loved, I had a high mark for, even though I had another one that I had a relatively high mark for. And I said, you're right. Yeah, and I think of you more as the listener, and I think it's great that way it ended. So I'm hitting a note on the guitar on the G string. Then I actually do hit the octave on the high E string, okay, of that note, be it A or G, I don't remember. And then I go with the pedal.
Right.
So that takes it up another 2 octaves. And so if you listen to that solo, that's what you hear. And I go, all right, if that's the only spot I use the whammy pedal, at least I got something.
At least you got it in there.
The $200 I spent on it,
Yeah.
So it's in there. Anyway, I shared the file. I remember it was a little hard for me. I don't know how to edit my stuff yet, meaning combine a couple of tracks. I'm going to learn this shit.
Right.
I trust you. But it takes me, I don't want that to get in the way of me moving forward. And these guys who generally spend their life, or anybody who's an engineer who knows any of this stuff, they know how to adjust things and
right. You can send them all 5 solos and they can cut it up any way they want.
And that's the other thing I did just 2 days ago. Another guy, this guy, the music was a little bit of a challenge. He was closer to an Incubus to me, but he wanted my kind of revenge, crazy nights guitar leads, so I had fun with it. And you know what? On the opposite, where I only wanted to give Gabe's project 1 solo, but I asked him to adjust 1 note a little, okay? Which he did, so it's great. But this other guy, I gave him everything I kept, okay, which was 4 solos and a harmony to one of them. And I said, I know you're a good engineer, because I could tell the way he wrote me and how he, prepared the email about the session notes and things like that. I go this guy's going to know what to do with everything. So he writes me the next morning. It was so cool. And he goes dude, first of all, I loved what you did. I had a lot of fun with it. I know you're going to love it. I actually moved, I did take a few different things and put it together.
Cool. That's great.
And I was happy with every lick I played that I gave it to him. And I'm hoping, obviously, he did a great job, and I'm sure he did. And that's exciting too.
That's cool. So when you hear it back, it'll be a new thing, something new.
It probably will be a little new for me, and that's okay. Yeah. And then the other session that I did, which is the one that I was just filming for today, which will come out in a week. And that's the funny thing. And John, you know this because you're in the industry again. How long ago did I record with Ace? And I'll let you explain that in a minute. But typical, in the normal world, pre-COVID, anything you did, usually come out 6 months, 3 months, 6 months, a year, and all that was totally normal, right? Until it was released, okay? And now it's done, we're done, edit the video. That's not, no one's going on location to do it, right? It's all coming from the people at
and it
home.
comes out a week later, right?
Exactly, exactly. Yeah. When Chris Jericho, the last part, when I gave him the solos for Heart of Chrome, and within 4 days, I saw this incredibly edited video, and so that's the way everyone's working. So this guy in Sweden, who's a dear friend of mine, Chris Laney, his project it's very cool actually. What they're doing is they want to cover 80s movie soundtracks, and if you think about it, there's a lot of tunes that could be turned into rock songs. And the one that I did was I don't want to give it away. I'll just say the artist that sang the song is Tina Turner, and it's an amazing track.
Right.
Had a lot of fun doing the solo. And then I swear I gave him the solo probably Tuesday. Thursday, he gives me the final mix, and he's begging me, I need the video as soon as possible. It's coming out in next Thursday. You know what I mean?
Wow. So that's great. That's cool. It's neat.
Right. And now, and he said, you got to stand, and make sure it's well lit. Those instructions.
Wow.
So now I'm and you know what? And he didn't mind. I'm just a featured guy on it. I'm not playing the whole song because I didn't play on the whole song. I don't know the whole song. Right. I play the solo and then the ending solo. So just put me in the video there. I'm happy with that. What do I have to make believe I'm playing along?
Like you're doing rhythm guitar at the beginning of the tune, right?
Yeah. No, it's not important. And it's a great track. They did a great job. And he was so excited because he's another Kiss fan. Actually, he performed with me one time when I went to Sweden with guys that I picked up to be in my band. He's in Stockholm. Terrific guy. And I did another thing with him, this project called Dreams in the Witch House project, which was a horror thing that's supposed to turn actually into some sort of movie or something like that, a rock opera, and I played a lot of acoustic stuff, some electric things on it. So everyone's having fun musically, you know what I mean? And it's going to continue.
For sure.
So give me the scoop on the Ace thing, because I wanted to bring it up with Eddie yesterday, and I forgot there was so much else to talk about.
So I didn't even tell Ace this yet, believe it or not.
Oh, so, wonderful! We got a scoop here.
Yeah, so you're hearing it first. And so the label has an idea of when they want to release the album, which is Origins 2, Ace Frehley, and they also have an idea on when they want to announce it. like the announce a release date. So I will fill you in on that offline, but the good news is it's going to happen. And if everybody doesn't know, they know now that Bruce, you played on the record, which is great.
Yeah. It was Manic Depression, which was, wow, interesting title for nowadays, right?
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
But I always knew that Ace, I bring it up all the time too, that he was a big Hendrix fan, so
Right on.
so it took a little time just to figure out the when and the what, and it's kind of nice to have him and I text each other, and
It's
it was a
awesome.
nice, I really was flattered that he asked, and I know the label always wanted me to be involved with one of his cover record things, so and the fact that we both respect each other and get along, it was my honor to be involved. I think it's
And
great.
for the Kiss fans, that's a
Right.
really cool thing. I mean, and
Yeah.
I had a
Cool
question
idea.
for both you guys, because I've seen, the clips from the Kiss cruise of you playing with Todd and the guys, and they
Yeah.
sound so good.
Thank
I
you.
unfortunately have never been able to go on the Kiss cruise. But why not a tour, Bruce and Ace out there? You each play a set.
That would be great.
Us Kiss fans would
Right.
go nuts for that. That's going to be a sellout every night. I want you two guys to work on that. That would be amazing.
Okay, Bruce, we will.
And I know
will.
no one's touring right now, but eventually
Right.
it's going to come back.
Exactly. I don't think it's something that would not be well received. I'm aware of that. So you never know
Yeah.
where the future takes us. That's for
That's
sure.
actually absolutely true, Bruce. When you have a break from Grand Funk dates, whenever touring gets back going again,
Right.
this is something definitely we could put together.
Right.
And your band that you use with Todd and Brent, and I mean, you guys are great. And like Mark said, fans would love that because it's
Right.
two guys from Kiss.
Yeah.
And the coolest thing is that you and Ace get along great and
Sure.
have a mutual respect for each
Yeah.
other. And it's cool. You know what? I want to let Mark has some more questions, but I wanted to mention how cool it was when Ace and Grand Funk were on the Rock Legends cruise. That was my first ever cruise,
Right.
and we had such a fun time on
Yeah, we
that cruise.
did.
I watched your
Yeah.
shows, and you came to say Ace shows,
Sure.
and then the funniest thing was that Ace always likes me to wear a suit, so it was like we stepped off the boat, and I'm walking down, and I run into you and Lisa, Lynn and I, and you were laughing because everybody was in shorts, and I'm wearing like a suit, like in this
You had
beautiful.
a suit on, and it
Yeah.
had to been 90 degrees, some island we blew into, and I'm like, oh my God. But you were quite well dressed. You were very handsome.
Thank you.
Totally inappropriate, but you were handsome.
Yes, I was well dressed, 100% inappropriate, but well dressed. I only was off the boat for like an hour, and then I had to, of course, get right back on because I think
Right.
Ace had a show that night. And I even said to Ace, I said, "Can I leave the boat for like 1 hour?" And he's like, "Yeah, go for it." Like, that was a great time,
Yeah,
and it was
I know.
really cool.
I'm not going to forget that. I know. I remember that scene.
So, Bruce, I wanted to take you back. The first time John and I ever met you was in Rhode Island. Do you remember this, John? After
Absolutely.
the Crazy Nights concert. I believe it would have been late '87. Does that sound right, John?
Yes.
And
It was at the Providence
we
Civic
hung
Center.
out at the hotel and got to meet you, Paul, and Erik. And wow, what a great night that was. We were crazy Kiss fans as we still are today. What memories do you have of that specifically that tour, the Crazy Nights tour?
It's funny that not a lot of stuff stands out from the U.S. portion. I just know that during Crazy Nights, all of a sudden, some of the really big festival dates started to happen for us, and we went to Europe. But and then I know we went to Japan. There's a great video of that. So I gotta like maybe watch some videos. I know the stage had those cool metal ramps that went up that were kind of fun, and I know Erik had a big drum solo. I think that was the tour when he introduced some of the
the electronic drums. Mm-hmm.
Yes. So those were memories, but it's kind of interesting with Crazy Nights. I mean, I loved all the videos we did for it and the live stuff, and the staging was always exciting to me for Kiss. For that era, I really think that they all were very special. I really do.
Yeah,
but it's funny how there's a few of the other tours stand out a little more to me. But I knew you were going to say Erik would be there, okay, after the show. This Erik Carr
in the hotel bar.
It's interesting that Paul was down. Usually it would just be Erik, and maybe I'd go down if I realized I wanted to just burn off some energy from a post-gig thing. And Gene would probably having a meal in his room in the biblical sense, if you know what I mean.
Right.
But you know, it was, look, it's hard for me to remember shows and everything. That's why I think you're prompting me to go take a look at a bootleg of a live show from that era.
Well, you know what's interesting about some of those 80s Kiss tours? It seems like
I'll be right back. I gotta get something.
Okay.
No, I said, Mark, I'll be right back. I got to get something to show Bruce. So you ask Bruce the question, and I'll be right back.
Bruce, it seems like I remember the Animalized tour, and I'm trying to think, Asylum possibly. I mean, there was times where the 80s era songs in the set list far outweighed the 70s songs. I mean, there was, I believe on that, maybe it was Animalized, where there was really only 4, possibly 5 70s era Kiss songs in the set list, and you guys were really focusing hard on the current stuff you were playing at that time. And was there an effort by Paul and Gene, because let's face it, you know, the coolness factor sometimes goes in 20-year cycles. So in the 80s, the 70s was not cool. And so were they really kind of shunning what they had done in the past?
I mean, to be honest, I was given, I remember, you remember I was just going to be the temporary replacement for Mark St. John, but of course that turned into like the entire Animalized tour. And then of course they offered me the gig by December of 84. But you got to remember that the tape I was given, Learn These Songs, I remembered it was obviously from the Lick It Up tour. Okay. And that set already had songs from Lick It Up. It had songs from Creatures of the Night. Okay. So there's those 2 albums. And then there were a few Kiss classics, and then there was the new stuff they wanted to share, meaning the Animalized record, you know. So I think as time went on, we didn't always support the newest record that much. And by Hot in the Shade, obviously, that was the tour we really started to bring back some old things.
Older stuff,
Very appropriate that way. So to be honest, I didn't have much to say in any way, especially my first tour, of course, what was chosen. But I remember that Gene and Paul especially would be very shy about if we try a song and it didn't connect, it wasn't done again. And I don't know if that was the right decision or not, but they did that. But think about it. How many bands have catalog that deep, you know, that even if I joined in their 10th year or 11th year, you know what I mean? They put out a lot of records through the years. So I still think that, and I think the Animalized set was great, and it lives on because of the
video.
The
Animalized live video was great. Bruce, I want to show you something, and then Mark, I know you got another question, but check this out, Bruce, and this is real.
I knew it. As soon as you were holding the drum, I knew it would be Chikara. That's awesome.
This is one of Erik's drums from the Crazy Nights tour, and these heads are even like the heads that were on the big European festivals. Like the bass drum still has I could tell by watching the videos, and they're like cool little triggers. And I even asked Night Bob, who did sound for you guys, and he was like, "Yep,
I see it, yeah." That's cool.
See the triggers in there, and there's a 1/4-inch jack on it too. It's really cool.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I'm really glad I remembered that it was the Crazy Nights tour that he started with the boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. That sounded so cool. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That reminded me, like yesterday, I had a little break that I wanted to fool around with some of the loops and the samples that you get in GarageBand. I'm not doing a promo for GarageBand. I'm just explaining. But it will blow your mind how much stuff's in there. There's over like 5,000 sounds. But there were a few that reminded me of the boom, you know, that era.
Of that sound, right.
Yeah.
I got to look at that.
Yeah.
Mark, here's the thing, Bruce. I bet you don't know this. Mark, you teach classes in GarageBand, right?
Well, I haven't taught any in GarageBand, but I do some work for Apple. So yeah. There are some
straight here. Do you know GarageBand or you don't know GarageBand?
You know, I know GarageBand pretty well. Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. I want your email after this interview is over.
Yeah,
Okay, definitely. And there are some good videos that Apple's been putting up actually on apple.com. The
Right.
Today at Apple sessions have been, they have instructors up there teaching. I'm not sure if
Right.
there's one up there on GarageBand, but I know they are
Okay.
posting.
but Mark,
The help thing for the program does work. And then I did, when you look at a YouTube, you don't know, it could be a 5-year one and everything looks different. And you know what I mean?
right. It could be a different version.
Right. But thank you. And then if I'm really doing pretty well so far, but I would love a guy. I mean, look, it's still primitive. I got a good buddy in China who does music.
Right.
And I'm not trying to in any way discourage GarageBand. I think it's an incredible program. The fact that it comes with your laptop or your iMac is amazing. But I'll probably move up to Logic because I know I don't need Pro Tools. I don't necessarily need that because generally I'll be doing things, but I could share the files with the other people who have the much more intense, platforms for the work. But knowing that I'm giving them the proper file that they can place in and so Logic is the next extension.
Yeah, Logic is great too. Adobe Audition is actually a nice.
We're going to lose everyone on Facebook if we talk.
Right. So, Bruce, such a history that you have. Has there been any discussion in you writing your own book? I know other people have written books about you and your time in KISS and this and that. But what about your book in your words?
Honestly, yes, I want to do a book. I actually was hoping always, and I did start a long time ago with, and I know John knows this guy, Ken Gulick, who was a label guy with Ace and so instrumental, and he was helpful with the Kissologies during those years when he was involved more with VH1 and everything. And Ken and I are still good friends. But the point is, I remember we worked on it. He shopped it with some mutual contacts that were very respectable, big lawyers that worked with some big people. And everybody was expecting the Dirt, Motley Crue. Okay. No, my life has nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? I still feel I have very compelling stories, but I can't talk about tying up girls and all the other debauchery of wildness and heart-stopping heroin overdoses. No, it's just not my world. Yeah. And I get why they want that. You know what I mean? And so, and now of course with publishing, many people are very successful even in self-publishing, or you can publish through Amazon and things like that. So there's many options for me really once I get it done. But I have a lot of content because I used to share a lot of stuff on my older website that was much more about like the workings of each album, each tour, each video. And I really do want my book less to be about, maybe slamming anybody and more about celebrating, the details of what I did and how it happened, the creative process in a sense. And then I, because I have to have kind of realistic goals, I always kind of thought, well, great if it came out not long after KISS has done their final gig, because there could be a great last chapter of my book there. Okay. Because I would think if their, intention and the world isn't completely gone by then, that a former member performed with them at the final gig, right? And you understand that, of course. Right. Mm-hmm. And now, let's be honest, the cruise is already booked past that date. Now, does that mean they're going to stick to that? I have no idea. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know what they know yet. The fact that they're losing huge chunks of what was going to be this incredible 3-year tour to wrap it up. And now a pandemic could carve out half of it, easily. So I'm hoping, in other words, I'm wondering if that gets moved because
if the final date.
Yeah, exactly. So I have some time. That's what I'm telling you. And the other way of saying it is like the book is always being written. It's kind of evolving. I mean, look at it. What everyone's doing now through the pandemic, how everyone's lives are adjusting and learning and shifting and changing. There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah,
Bruce, I want to. Speaking of crazy stories, so I have a couple of funny stories, and they're not about tying girls up or anything like that. There are some funny stuff that just interaction between me and you that caused me to think about you frequently. One of them is Starbucks Frappuccino. in a glass, because I remember during Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp, we were on our way to go to the Howard Stern show, like at this ungodly early time
Of course,
in the morning. And you said, John, get me a Starbucks, Frappuccino. So I came out with like a cup and I didn't realize what you meant, those glass
right.
versions. And now I love those thanks to you.
Yeah.
So whenever I think of that, I think of you. Now, the other quick story is that you were doing an event at the Hard Rock Cafe in New York. And I think it was for somebody associated with Rock and Roll Fantasy Camp. And you were staying at a hotel on 43rd Street. And I remember going, Bruce, how was your night? And you said that the fire alarm went off. And I think you had to get up and go downstairs.
That's very possible. I think I blocked that out, but I believe you.
Yeah.
I've had some rough, traveling for me has always been, I feel bad about gigs being postponed, you know what I mean? Because I do love performing on stage and playing guitar for people. The rest about like getting on a plane and going somewhere in a hotel and dealing with the other guests and can I get fed at 10 o'clock? Oh no, the kitchen's closed. You get the deal.
Right. Oh, believe me, I know all that.
Yeah, not the fun part of being a musician, so I miss none of that right now. But lots of times my road trips can be very, very hilarious and I have to laugh instead of, otherwise I want to kill myself, if you know what I mean. So if I told you that, it happened. I just, I can't picture it, and I'm glad I can't, because I know I would have been.
Very good. I'm sorry to bring up those bad memories.
Yeah, the bad memories. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Bruce, we'll start winding things down with you, but it's always great to talk with you. And, a record I pull out often was your solo record from about 10 years ago, BK3, right? Yeah. So many great artists joining joining you on that album, including Gene's son. One of my favorite songs on that record was Hand of the King.
Yep.
Such a great album. Does Nick do any? Do you know if did he ever do anything else with music?
I know for a little while. First of all, he came out for my I did have a record release party, which was a lot of fun at a pretty famous club at the time in LA on the Strip called the Cat Club, and it was packed. It was so exciting. I just actually met my wife, that year or something. So it was kind of all new for me that way. But the reaction was amazing. And Nick came up. He actually did rehearse with me over at Amp Studios in North Hollywood, and they filmed some of that for the Family Jewels.
Right.
Oh, cool. So Gene was able to use some of that as content for one of the shows, which was great. And it was a fun gig. I really had a great time. But I remember always keeping in touch with him then. And I remember he had an interesting niche. He really loved like Dean Martin and stuff like that. And he wanted to kind of perform that way. And I remember he did some stuff, but to be honest, it's been really quiet from him, at least the way that I'm aware of. And that's unfortunate, because I know he's a talented guy. He just
what a great voice. I mean, his voice sounds outstanding on that song.
It's a very cool voice. Now, Sophie went full tilt into being although it's dance music or whatever you call that music, but she does a really good job with that stuff. And I know Gene's really proud of the kids and everything. And but sadly, I would love to see Nick do something. Maybe he'll hear this interview and
it'll inspire him to do something.
Well, I tell you what, when we wrap the interview here, John, we'll play that song on the podcast version of this. And you got anything else for Bruce, John?
Yeah, Bruce, I just wanted to say that I truly enjoy both the isolated riffs and the stories about guitars. Most recently, that blue Charvel, it inspired me to go onto eBay and Reverb and try to find a Model 2. I have a Model 1 bass, but I love the one pickup on the Charvel Model 2. A classic guitar. You could see it during Kiss Animalized Live.
Yeah.
And tell me about just all your gear. Just a little spot about your gear.
Well, I realized that I used to just kind of share that stuff once in a while online because I'm busy, doing what normal life was. And now it's, I have plenty that I can share content-wise. I have lots of different guitars to talk about, so I've been doing things like that. I'm a little behind in sharing some isolated riffs, but that's only because I got too busy with the sessions, which then I could share. Well, this is what I performed, you know what I mean? And then there's the videoing for it. Of course, I've been giving guitar lessons. That's a lot of fun. And then there's these cameo shout outs that I get booked for. They're cool too. But and one thing I wanted to mention about, if I'm showing a guitar, someone can't take that and really have fun with it. But some of those isolated riffs, when I've jammed along with a whole song like Jungle or Tough Love, and then guys take it and they put it in a program, they play drums to it, and they play bass to it, and they sing to it, and they carry on with it. I haven't even begun to share some of the good ones that I got from some players, some fans.
Wow.
So it's pretty endless. I mean, John, I know you have like this wild apartment with a lot of fun stuff in there. If you had a TV show that you needed to share things with or have content, there's a story probably about every guitar behind you.
Absolutely.
We've actually been doing that. Yeah, having John just share little stories about each guitar. Yeah.
So it's
and Bruce, the thing that I really like is that, let's say I'm listening to Jungle, for example, and I'm wondering, I can maybe figure out what I think you're doing, but when you do the isolated riffs, I get to watch how you really are playing it. And for me, that's the cool thing. I'm going, oh, that's how he did it. Like, that's how you approach that particular song. Or if it's a song from Crazy Nights or Hot in the Shade or, any of those tunes. But
you have that eye, and you're probably at a level of playing that, though, you can then from my finger positioning figure it out. But I've already given some lessons that I had a lot of fun with, that I know they saw it, but they didn't totally understand it, but they weren't advanced as you. And then just spending that little bit of time with them and showing, no, the third string, 7th fret, and then switch to, you know what I mean? And then show the nuances of it. Again, stuff that a better player might know. And then they pick up on it very, very fast. So I enjoy doing
Bruce.
it.
And Bruce, you have students, so you also find time to work with students as well, right?
Yes. Yeah. There's this app called Meat Hook, and I know we did a promotion. It's kind of, and I just got to tell you this real quick. So the guy that runs the app, once we started promoting it more, now that I had more time to give lessons and I can coordinate that in because I'm home. My home is my office, my stage. Okay, that's what I'm calling it. So this one guy books me, and I'm like, okay, so like, what kind of guitar you got? Are you tuned to 440? No, I don't play guitar. I just wanna talk to you. Oh, okay. What do you want to talk about? Well, and he was like one of those really very, very successful guy, actually. And he went to the Vinnie Vincent party. He knows, he's been to plenty of Kiss shows, and he just had a lot of questions for me. So I discussed it so I discussed that with the guy who owns the app, and I said, do you realize that, my fans would love, and I remember one time I'm giving a concert, a free guitar lesson. Yeah, and it was a husband and wife, and they didn't play guitar. They just wanted to talk to me. And actually, it was really great because they gave me some ideas for merchandise that I didn't know, So, so it goes two ways.
Great.
So most of the lessons, I will admit, are guitar lessons, okay? And then he did a promotion recently where we gifted by guessing Sword and Stone. I didn't say what it was. Text this, and he'll pick 3 winners from the right answers. And he had I think he had 500 people wrote in, and I think 300 of them had the right answer. Okay. So he had to pick 3 from that. Everyone knows that song, even though it wasn't really, and I wasn't trying to he said, don't make it really hard, but I had to, but anyway, I know that the winners, most of them, if they play, fine. I love teaching. If not, we can chat about Kiss or anything. And then I know I've been putting it out more or just have a one-on-one chat with me. Why not?
Right.
At Gene's Vault, does he perform the songs at Gene's Vault? Not really. You know what I mean? He's,
right. Yeah, mostly talking about it. Yeah.
Right. It's that kind of storytelling thing. So, and then this week, I'm not going to forget this one anytime soon. I see this name, and I don't want to give it out, but it was an interesting name. I thought it might have been like a German girl or something. And it turns out to be literally a very, very sweet, bright teenager from Florida who told all her friends about, having a one-on-one chat with me and just wanted to talk to me. And it was quite an interesting 30 minutes. I really enjoyed just chatting with her. She had questions about Erik Carr. That blew my mind because she couldn't have been more than 16. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And she's asking about Erik Carr. And I remember, telling my mob band about that. And they thought that was so sweet. Lisa overheard some of it. And so, again, another opportunity of kind of networking with the fans in a different way that probably wouldn't happen if life was what it normally was. This is
Right.
due to everyone having to entertain themselves differently, connect differently. Major companies have meetings like we're having on a Zoom or something like that. And and I'm going to embrace it all, manage it all. The hardest thing is scheduling it all, but I do the best I can. And it is very rewarding for me. So
Cool.
I appreciate everybody that has been enjoying it. Today, I had a meeting with a guy that's helping me overall improve the YouTube channel. If kids could have 12 million, your numbers should be higher. They're out there. You just have to learn how to reach them. I'm like, okay, teach me. What am I going to do?
Well,
You know what I mean?
Bruce, I wanted to ask
that-
you, where is the best place so some of the people on the Facebook don't know all the KISS history like the KISS fans do. Where do fans that want to find more about you go? What's the best place for them to go?
The website's always right, because brucekulick.com will then show the link for the official Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that. And some of that's even there. And obviously that's where they could see a lot of the content, the good content. The problem with Facebook, and we all love it because it keeps us connected, but something you posted yesterday and then people have trouble finding it, because everything's moving so fast and the content comes fast and furious. If it's, a thumbnail that will take it to that YouTube of Lisa and I killing crazy nights.
I love that. That was amazing.
Yeah. And we're doing, Reason to Live, and there's Tears Are Falling, and then there's my Guitar of the Month, and I'm sharing that Blue Charvel you're talking about. So the website will take you everywhere, and it'll show you how to connect with me for lessons, for cameos. It will also, I'll be doing something there to show you, go to my YouTube channel, because that's another great avenue for people to really enjoy all this content that I'm creating. So the website. But,
Awesome.
I look at things, that's why it's always a head scratcher. A fan will go like, I really want to buy an 8x10 of you from your KISS years. Where can I find one of those? And I'm like, okay, I guess I got to send them the link. You know what I mean? But the fact that, because you Google my name, my site will come up. It will.
So guys, Erik Turner is going to be joining us in about 30 seconds. So
please send my
okay.
Eric.
Here he is.
There he
Hey,
is.
stay on.
He's coming
let's
in
say
right
hi
now.
to each other.
Erik.
Erik, how are you?
Erik, can you hear us? I don't know if he can hear us.
He's connecting to audio.
Erik, can you hear us?
Got it now.
Hello.
There he
Hey,
is.
Erik, you're on with Mark and John at Talking Metal. Bruce Kulick is here. He's going to be.
I'm leaving, but I'm saying hi.
Right on, buddy. Good to see you, Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, where was the last airport that I ran into you that now you don't want to go to an airport?
No, not right now. Maybe
It was either, I don't know, Minneapolis, Atlanta. I don't know. I would run into you guys all the time. It was so funny.
Los
We've been on the
Angeles.
same flights. They're coming back from Warrant. I'm coming back from a Grand Funk gig. We're all like exhausted. At the airport, 7 a.m., right?
Yeah, you're making me all sentimental. I'm getting sentimental right now, Bruce.
Yeah, I'm gonna cry about it too. I don't miss the travel part, but I miss performing. So, look, these guys, I'm leaving you in great hands with John and Mark. You know that.
Thank you, Bruce.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks. Great chatting with you, Bruce. And
Thank
we'll
you
be
guys
in
so
touch.
much.
Take care.
Stay safe. Keep in touch, and all you
Absolutely.
Facebook Live fans, I had a great time. More is coming, I promise. Erik, handing
Thanks,
it over
Bruce.
to you.
Yeah,
Okay?
stay well,
Thank
buddy.
you, Bruce.
All right.
Stay
All right.
good.
Take
Bye-bye
care,
now.
Bruce. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Erik, thank you.
Hello.
So, yeah, great
Hey,
to see
Erik.
you, man. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us here. And we're streaming live, and then we're going to post this as a podcast, and it'll go up on YouTube. So it's just great to catch up with some of our friends during this time. And last time I saw you was just about a year ago at M3. And you guys, at that point, I saw you twice last year. I saw you
yeah.
also in
New Jersey.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You were
New
doing the
Jersey.
30 Dirty tour, right?
Yeah, the Dirty 30 tour. That was a lot of fun, man. That was a really, I think we did about 55 shows in
Right.
support of the Dirty 30 tour, the 30-year anniversary of our first album. For those of you who are wondering what the Dirty 30 tour is, it's not a pornography convention. Dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking rich.
That's
So,
right. And
yeah,
Great record.
yeah.
so this
thank
year
you.
we're at 30 for Cherry Pie, right?
Yeah. This year's the 30-year anniversary of Cherry Pie, and we got all new staging and scrims and backdrops, and now we're stuck at home. So hopefully we'll get to use all that stuff sometime this year.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
well, yeah, we hope, and if not, you can always do the next year 31, 31 and Cherry Pie, because what an album that was, and I mean we definitely need to celebrate the anniversary of that record. I want to, of course, talk to you about everything that's going on with you now, but while we're on Cherry Pie, what were some of your memories? Like, do you remember hearing some of those songs for the first time and rehearsing some of those songs?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Uncle Tom's
stories?
Cabin
Yeah.
comes to mind right away. We were opening, it was the end of the Dirty Rotten tour. We did, I don't know, 2.5 months with Motley Crue, opening up for Motley Crue on the Dr. Feelgood tour. And Janie wrote the song Uncle Tom's Cabin, so we just started playing it live on that tour, even though nobody had ever heard it. And we just tested it out on 10,000 people a night or more.
Wow.
And it went over really well. So the Cherry Pie album was originally going to be called Uncle Tom's Cabin, and the record was all done. We tore down all the drums, and then Donnie Einer, the president of our label, asked for one more song. He asked Janie if he'd write one more song across between, I think he said across between Lovin' an Elevator and Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Oh, nice.
And so Janie wrote Cherry Pie in like 15 minutes or something crazy like that. And I was over at his house that day, and I helped him arrange the song, which was, we arranged it together and demoed it and set the drums back up and cut the song Cherry Pie. CC played lead on it. We had a couple guys, Bruce, Bruno, and Steve from Danger Danger came down and helped sing background vocals on Cherry Pie. And we just made it a fun, loose thing. Didn't think too much about it, and all these years later, that song has taken on a life of its own.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Now, Erik, I first saw you guys play with Paul Stanley back in around 1989, but I did see you on the tour with Motley Crue in Massachusetts, and I believe I met you guys at a place called The Channel. It was a rock bar in Boston after that Massachusetts concert in an arena opening for Motley Crue. And I've been a hardcore fan since back in the day. I don't know you as well as Mark does, but I just wanted to tell you, thanks for all those memories. And Uncle Tom's Cabin, to me, is a masterpiece of a song. And I just wanted to tell you that.
Yeah, thank you. We the intro to that song is Janie's brother, Rick, actually played the acoustic intro.
Wow.
Which was a lot of fun as well. And I'd say about 2 years ago, Rick came out to one of our shows and he played the intro live.
Wow, that's
and
great.
Then we
That's
went
really
into the
nice.
song. That was pretty special. But yeah, speaking of being on the Motley Crue tour, every night Janie would announce what club we were going to go to after the show.
That's why I went to The Channel, because the concert was about an hour away in a Worcester, Mass. And Janie must have announced that on stage, so I immediately got in I don't even know how I got there. I made it to the club.
You don't remember how you got home either, do you?
No, I don't.
Yeah, we loved The Channel. We actually had played The Channel once or twice, and we'd hung out there a bunch. And anytime we would go there, they'd give us the VIP treatment. So of course we loved that. Nice. I remember going there one night on a night off, and Extreme was playing. I don't know if the whole band was playing or what, but that was the first time I heard More Than Words.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah. So that was pretty special. That was pretty cool. But we had a lot of
great rock club
at The Channel.
Yeah. Now, John mentioned the Paul Stanley tour, which is also the first time I saw Warrant. March 10th, 1989. I Googled this. It's City Gardens in Trenton, New Jersey, opening up for Paul Stanley. What was the interaction like with Paul on that tour?
We didn't see Paul a little bit. What his band was, everybody in his band was cool, but the standout was Erik Singer. Erik Singer was always talking to us, coming into our dressing room, and we became friends from that tour. And of course, meeting Paul, childhood idol, was awesome. Getting to open for him was awesome. And then years later, I'm friends with Tommy Thayer's one of my good buddies, and back in 96 or 97, I started working for Gene on a book called Kiss Tree 2. girls' games and all that. So I worked for Gene for a few months, and we'd work at his house every day. And
Oh,
I
wow.
would see Paul Stanley, and just kind of got to know Gene and Paul really well during that time. Really super nice guys.
Excellent.
And you've been posting some videos on what, I guess, Instagram and YouTube and quarantine videos, I guess you'd call them. Now, your son, he's got a great voice. Is he playing in a band? What's his deal musically?
He
Noah,
loves
right?
singing. He's been in like choir for 7-8 years. He just graduated his freshman year, or finished his freshman year, I should say,
Wow.
of college at the University of North Texas. He's majoring in business entrepreneurship, but he loves music. He's minoring in choir music. And so he's not in a band or anything like that. He just loves music, and I guess it's more of a hobby. I don't think he plans on making a career of it.
Well, Erik, let me just tell you this. He plays piano amazingly, and he has an unbelievable voice. I mean, he really has a great voice. And I mean, I heard the God Bless America, the Billie Eilish tune, the Lady Gaga song. I mean, you guys are doing a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, it's very interesting for me because that's not music that I would ever play.
Right.
Lady Gaga, Billie Eilish,
Right.
Sia, stuff like that. So it's fun. It's challenging to learn it at first. The songs aren't terribly difficult, but what is difficult is taking a song that's in the studio with a ton of production, no guitar on it, and then I have to figure out an acoustic guitar part for the song. And it's been fun, being locked up at home. It gives me an excuse to play my guitar, and of course playing with my son is always fun. We did one Warrant song. We did I Saw Red.
Yep.
Which we thought pretty good, I thought.
Sounded
We got a
great,
really
too.
good response.
Cool. And
Excellent.
speaking of Warrant, it's been about 2 years, I think, since Louder, Harder, Faster was released.
3 years.
Has it been 3 years? Yeah,
I think
2017.
May,
right.
it came out in May of 2017.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
it's been 3 years, yeah.
Have you guys been writing any songs? Is there any talk of doing more original Warrant new music?
Well, our label that we did our last 2 records on is based in Italy, so I sent an email out there to say hi, check in on everybody, and everybody's doing good, thank God, at the label.
Right.
And so the Mario said, when we're ready to do a record, let them know. So it's kind of given us a little push. I mean, we're actually throwing some ideas around. I've been sending Robert some riffs, and Robert's been working on songs. I got a song going with Jerry right now. So it's a slow, long process for us, but the seed of a new record has been started.
And planted.
Hopefully, now that doesn't mean the seed will grow into a record.
Right.
We got a long way to go. I mean, we don't have one finished song, but we got a couple things cooking, and we're actually, sending ideas around back and forth to each other.
Now, you guys were really gearing up to go out on tour, like as we speak. You had dates booked this summer, so I imagine you guys were planning to get together to start to rehearse. And what's going to happen with the tour?
Well, we had shows. I think we had 5 shows in March. They've all been moved. Some later in the year, some to 2021. Same thing goes for May. We had a bunch of shows that have been moved. June all the dates in June just got moved. And the first 3 shows of July are being shuffled around. So I think the first show that we have that hasn't been moved yet, hopefully it's not, is in Missouri, Hannibal, Missouri on July 17th with Warrant and Firehouse at a festival.
Wow.
So
nice.
Missouri is actually open for concerts.
Oh, that's great.
Interestingly enough. So hopefully we have enough time in the next 2 months that the promoter can figure out how to put the show on safely and meeting all the state guidelines, and we'll get to play a show. So my fingers are crossed.
That would be great. And our fingers are crossed too, and we hope it works out for sure.
Yeah, to get one show under our belt would
Yeah. Well, that's better than no shows. Like,
it feel real good right now to have a show, but it's got to be, it's got to be safe and done right. And So this show looks like it's got a real chance. So see what
All right,
happens.
well, good. Fingers crossed on that one. We
Yeah,
hope so.
right.
We definitely need the rock back. You got to bring it back to us because us fans. I mean, I go to so many concerts, and my wife and I we're just going crazy. It's like we need to bring this back. So
Yeah, I know how you feel. They out here where I live in Texas, the Texas Rangers have this big, gorgeous, beautiful stadium, and what they're doing now is they're doing parking lot concerts. So they put up 4 of them for sale. It's like $40 a car.
right.
And you're out in your
Wow.
car and you watch the concert, and it's all just regional acts, these first 4 shows. But I just heard on the news they're adding more dates to the concert series out there. So
That is cool.
you know, hopefully they'll start bringing in some national acts or kick it up a notch. But so there's little signs of hope out there for our business.
Awesome.
No
Good.
doubt
And
about
in
it.
the meantime, a great way to support all bands, including Warrant, is go buy some merch, right? And I know that you guys have a lot of different T-shirts and hoodies and stuff up there. Where's the best place that the fans can go to?
Well,
buy
if you go to our all our social media handles are the same, at Warrant Rocks, at Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course our website, warrantrocks.com. And there's a link to our merch store on all those different platforms. We've got a bunch of new designs. We've had time to work on some new designs, and we'll continue to keep adding stuff. Also been having a lot of fun with an app called Cameo.
Yeah,
That
tell
is
us
so
about
cool.
that.
Yeah, you do like birthday, happy anniversary, you know, love you, miss you, mom from Joanne or whatever and stuff like that. So I've been incorporating my guitar in a lot of those cameos I've been doing. I've just think I'm up to 100 and I've done 102 cameos or so
Wow.
Really? Wow.
so far. Yeah, so it's fun. You know, I enjoy it. People seem to like it. I mean, it's only $20. I'm not. I'm cheap.
Well, it's awesome. So let's tell the people. So they go directly to the Cameo website first, and then they do a search for you.
And
Is
they
that how it works?
search. Yeah, they'll search for Erik Turner, musicians or whatever. I'll come up in there, and then they just purchase it, and they send you a little note like what would you like me to say, who it's for, what's the message. Sometimes people even get a cameo for themselves, or maybe they have a YouTube channel or something. They want me to do a shout out, something like that. So anyways, that's been fun. Keeps me a little busy during this downtime. And then I see all those guitars back there. I like to,
Yeah.
I've only done a few of them, but I buy these Epiphone Les Paul specials and I sand them down and then I paint them. And so and I'll play them a little bit. So I've done a few of those, and
you like
that's
you
also- that's
customize
also
them
fun.
you with the paint and stuff. You
I call it punk. I call them punk rock specials because I sand them down really badly, and then I spray paint them. And then,
That is- I think
put
that's
stickers
great.
on them and stuff like that. And it's a lot of fun. You know, a lot of fun.
When
where
we
can
when we
people
turn this
buy them?
in,
Go ahead.
Where can people buy those? Are you sell them?
You can just, I need to really pimp them more. I have one for sale right now. I'm going to put it up on my Instagram and my Facebook,
Okay,
and see if anybody wants one.
cool.
when we
They're,
turn this into a podcast, Erik, we will, if you can send us a photo of that or a link to it, we'll put that up on the site, and hopefully we'll get that one sold.
Yeah,
You can
definitely.
do another one. But I think that's a great idea. I mean, people will get an Epiphone or another guitar of
Yeah.
that, price range. And I think it's great. You sand off all the paint, and then it's your creation on the guitar. Then you put all the parts back in, and it's a cool thing. It's like a one of a kind.
yeah, it's a lot of fun. And I'll send you some pictures.
Yeah,
And,
please.
I play them. I try and play them one or two shows, a couple songs on one or two
Oh,
shows.
that's
so they
great.
have a little bit of history on them. And
Yeah, they're
I think
stage
I've
played.
done
I didn't
4
even.
Yeah, I've
That's
done 4 or 5
really
of them,
cool.
and I have one right now for sale. The
That
other's
is
sold
very
already.
cool that they're stage played too. I mean, that adds a whole another layer of coolness to it for sure.
Yeah, it's memorabilia type
Yeah.
thing.
Right
No
on.
doubt about it.
If you're a fan of guitars and 80s rock.
Which I am, and just I know Mark has some questions, but I'm gonna do the fan style questions. I have to tell you that I don't think there's not that many albums where I think just in life that I think every song is good, but Dirty Rotten, I think that every single song is great. There's no filler on that record. Tell us about the writing and recording of that album.
Well, you know, Janie is a prolific songwriter. We asked him to join the band in '86, and he brought Steven with him. And so we were playing, and he had a bunch of songs. Him and Steven were in a band called Plain Jane, a local band. They had just broken up. The original Warrant guys band broke up. Our singer and our drummer left. And so Janie's like, hey, I got this song, and it's called Down Boys. And so he plays guitar and drums and stuff. And so he started showing us the riffs, and we just worked out an arrangement in the rehearsal place. And that was the very first song we ever learned of his and played together. It was Down Boys, so that was a good sign. And he was just such a prolific songwriter and so good. It was like we were just okay, yeah, these are great songs. We're all digging it. So you know, he'd sit in his. We all lived in. Janie and I were roommates for a long time, for a couple of years, and he'd just 3, 4 in the morning or 12 in the afternoon. I don't know. It just seemed like he's always working on song ideas. Just really, he was in a zone for years and years where he was just pumping out song after song. It seemed so effortlessly.
That's awesome.
So we're
Thank
lucky
you
to
for
have
telling
a
me
great
that.
songwriter in our band and a great singer. I mean, we hit the lotto on that one.
No doubt about it. And speaking of the guitar graphics and Warrant, you and Joey always had really cool guitars with graphics, and this was a cool thing back in the day. Were yours Jacksons, or what were you playing back then?
So we were playing BC Rich guitars. Before we had a record deal, Joey actually worked at Jackson Guitars. He was actually they were building prototype amps. And Joey, when he was at Jackson, he actually built a prototype amp for Phil Collin from Def Leppard. They've been friends forever. And just recently, Phil Collin, I don't know, a year or two, gave that amp back to Joey as a gift that Joey had built for him in like '85 or something.
Wow.
That's kind of a neat little side thing. But then Joey went to work for BC Rich in '87, I think it was. And so he's working there, and we're just a local band. And Bernie Rico said, hey, let's build you guys some guitars. And so BC Rich just started building us guitars and doing all these, Dan Lawrence doing all these crazy wild graphics for us, all these crude and rude ideas we had. And
they were great. You guys had great guitars.
Yeah, then during that time, we got a record deal. And so BC, you know, Bernie just kept building us, said, hey, you want more guitars? You want more guitars? And it was just awesome. I think I have 5 of those BC Riches still left out of like 20. I kept my 5 favorites.
Nice. So
Erik,
cool.
I know last time we spoke, actually it was not last time, it was a couple years ago when we spoke. You were telling me about this cool punk rock thing you were doing, Dick Von Rock, which I was really digging. Any further stuff coming from Dick Von Rock?
No, Dick Von Rock.
Now you sang it,
it's
right?
a funny name. It's hard to come up with an original name, but it kind of fit the music.
Yeah.
Dick Von Rock, kind of tongue in cheek. It was a fun project that I did with my buddy of mine, Skyla. We were neighbors. He's a super talented guy, so he would just write all this music and send it to me, and then I would write all the lyrics and melodies and sing on it, or as I like to call it, scream on it. But we wrote 18 original songs right up to about, I'd say 2015 to 2016. We wrote like 18, 20 songs and just put them out just with no fanfare or anything like that. Just throw them up on, online through CD Baby and stuff like that.
Right.
But it was a lot of fun. If your listeners should check it out, I think there's some songs that people would like. And that was it. Then we started.
Yeah.
Then we started the Louder, Harder, Faster record, and just got busy with that and Warrant, and then we haven't written a song in like 3 years probably.
Right.
But,
cool. Well, it was good. It was a good listen.
Fun stuff. There's at least 18 songs out there for.
Yeah, I think it's up on Spotify too, and Apple Music too. So I think it's on streaming services. Dick Von Rock, which was a cool little side project that Erik was involved with. Definitely more on the punk side of things. I wanted to, you know, I know I always go through your catalog, and last time I was drilling you with questions on Ultraphobic, so we won't go there tonight. But what about Born Again? It was such a kind of unique Warrant record for you guys.
Yeah,
a record that I
really-
thought was very strong. You know, the one record that doesn't have Robert or Janie on it. Of course.
Yeah, that
James
was well, Jerry and Jerry especially, me a little bit around the Ultraphobic record. We started collaborating with Janie and writing some songs with Janie, and then the Belly Belly record we did. And so fast forward to 2004, Janie left the band, and we got Jamie St. James from Black and Blue in the band, and we're like, let's write a record. So Born Again was the first record that we wrote without Janie. That was a big leap for us, and it turned out really good. It's a good, just solid, straight up rock record, you know, no frills. And we actually, you know, we had a blast making it. It was a lot of fun making it. But yeah, Born Again, check it out.
it just didn't work long term with Jamie St. James, because again, the record didn't really.
Well, what happened was, Saint was in the band, from 2004 to 2007, and then, long story short, we were playing. We were the house band for Danny Bonaducci's divorce party.
Wow.
Him and Adam Carolla used to have a radio show.
Right.
And so an old buddy, a friend of mine, told me, "Hey man, I saw Janie at your show or at the show." I'm like, "What? Janie was there?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Janie was there." And I had no idea Janie was there that night. And my buddy goes, "Yeah, he's doing really good. He's in a really good space right now. You should call him." And so I did. And we had a great talk. It was really great to talk to him. I hadn't spoken with him in probably 3 years that we hadn't talked. And we decided to, you know, I said, "It'd be great to have you come back to the band." And he said he wanted to come back to the band. So we did a short-lived reunion tour. And that's when Jamie St. James left the band. Janie Lane came back.
Right.
And it didn't last as long as, I wish, you know, it lasted forever, but it didn't last long. And during that period, we played Rocklahoma. Believe it or not, we were the headliner at Rocklahoma when Janie came back on Saturday night. It's an awesome, great show. Things were falling apart at that time a little bit, which was stressful, but Robert Mason was there with his band, Big Cock. And so we reconnected with Robert. Robert was in Lynch Mob, and Lynch Mob was the opening act for Warrant on the Dog Eat Dog tour.
Okay.
And great guy, great singer. Hadn't seen him in a long time. And just as things were falling apart with Lane, unfortunately, Robert was just right there, and he's the same age and loves the same type of music, and, you know, singer's singer, just like Janie. And him and Lane were actually really good friends, pretty much inseparable on that Dog Eat Dog tour. They were always hanging out, Robert and Janie, so they were friends. And in a way, we, you know, kind of had the nod from Lane. He approved of Robert.
Right.
So
That's cool. That's really
Yeah.
cool. That those guys were friends, and that he kind of gave you the nod to go ahead with Robert. And I mean, what I like is you have what I consider like the classic lineup together, just with Robert now, which I think works.
It's hard to believe Robert's been in the band for 12 years.
Wow.
It blows
Amazing.
my mind to say it out loud. 12 years. Wow.
Most people don't even think bands last that long, and so the newer singer has been in for 12 years. But
And Robert does such a
exactly.
great job. Every night that guy gives his all. And the thing I love about seeing Warrant live is so many bands, and I'm not going to mention any names, but the backing tracks and the fake screams where the guy isn't even really screaming, and the sound man does samples of the screams. I've seen it all, and people missing their cues. You guys are 100% live. And it's always a party. I mean, and Robert brings the party. He's up there, you know, shot of tequila, just rocking it. It's just such a fun live experience, and I mean 100% live. You guys always bring it, and
Yeah.
always
We experimented a little bit on the Dirty Rotten tour with some backing tapes for like keyboards and strings and stuff. But Janie and Steven's an amazing singer. But at one point we're just like, this is just too much of a hassle and pain in the ass and to deal with. And so we just made a decision. We're gonna sing and play everything and just screw all the samples and all that stuff. So we've gotten good at it over the last 30 years.
Yeah, and
I think it's actually harder.
feel to it.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, Eric, I think it's, and if you've ever tried to do this, I think it's harder to try to play with the samples because you got to be perfectly on a click. And so I think you get more freedom when you're just doing it live,
Yeah, exactly. And it sounds good. If it didn't sound good, we'd probably have to get a little help.
Back to the
Get a little help. But fortunately for 30 years, it's been all 100% just us, for better or for worse, depending on what night you see us.
Right. Well, it's always for better when I see you guys. It's always a party, and I cannot wait for you guys to get back out there. We need you. I know concerts might be a little bit further away here in the Northeast, but we want our Warrant back here in the New York, New Jersey area. So
yes,
let's keep our fingers crossed on that. And it's always great hanging with you, talking with you. Anything else you want to cover while we're here, Eric?
Yeah, I got to ask about all those Les Pauls back there.
Yeah,
What's the
John,
story
okay.
there?
There's a story with each one of those.
Yeah, there is a story with each one. So I've been a guitar fan forever. My father is still a guitarist, and
he used to work for Gibson too.
Yeah, so I used to work for Gibson Guitars for 10 years as a consultant, and I got the job just because somebody called me for something, and I started talking to the person. His name was Jim Felber. He worked for Gibson, and I was like geeking out on guitars, and he said, I'm going to hire you right there. Just stop, and I'm hiring you. So I became a consultant, and I had some Les Pauls, and then through the years, I just accumulated this collection of Les Pauls. This is this one is, I'll just show you this because since you're a guitarist and you're like, the craziest thing about this is it looks like a normal souped up Les Paul with 3 pickups, but check this out. And look at the back. There is no control plate. So how crazy is that? So if you want to work on this, you've got to take all the pickups out and like go in there with like a needle or something. How crazy is that? So that's what it is I love guitars. I love Les Pauls. I love Strats. I love everything. I love like the BC Rich Strat style guitars as well, the Jacksons, but I'm just a guitar fan. But the strange thing is when I was coming to see Warrant shows back in the day, I was, let me just put this back. I was up at Berklee College of Music where I met Mark, and I was there for drums. So I was a guy that went to school for drums, still play drums, but always loved guitars. I'm not like I'm not a shredder.
But he's selling himself short. He's one of these guys. He plays like every instrument, and he plays it really well. It's like
So Mark, I got one more thing to tell Eric.
Absolutely.
I'm like the Richard Lewis. You know the comedian Richard Lewis?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. I'm like I always say I'm the Richard Lewis of like rock people because I will tell you the negative first. Like most people go up to like, people. I remember back in the day when our bands were getting, together in the 90s, and you'd go up to a girl and say, hey, how are you doing? And people would be like, yeah, we're in the studio. We were getting a deal. We're ready to put out an album. I don't do that. I tell you everything wrong. So I was driving with my childhood girlfriend to see you guys in Pittsburgh. I had no license on me because for some reason I didn't bring my license. I got pulled over by the police. They let me go, I think, just because they felt bad for me. And I went to see you guys play in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And to this day, something that I think of you guys every single day because in my music room, which is right behind here, I have a drum set. I have like 3 stacks, and I've got par cans that are chrome. And this is not a real par can, but this is kind of like a fake.
Right. Sure.
But I have these par cans, and the reason that I have those, people might say, why do you have stage lighting in your 2-bedroom apartment in Jersey City? The reason is that I saw you guys in Pittsburgh, and you guys had these chrome lighting rig, and it was so cool that it was because of Warrant and these chrome lights that, you know, how many years later, from the 80s until 2020, I now have chrome par cans in my apartment because
That's
of Warrant.
badass. That's badass.
How cool is that?
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
I thought you were going to say every time you get pulled over, you think of Warrant.
Oh yeah, well I
That's what I
barely
expected
drive
you.
anymore, so I will think of Warrant when I get pulled over in the future. That
That's
was a
awesome,
side
man.
story.
Nice collection.
Thank you very much, man. Thank you.
Eric, as always, thanks for your time. Again, we were streaming this live tonight, but we're also sticking it up on YouTube, and we're going to put it on our podcast, the audio version of this. So,
Awesome, man.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having me. Looks like you guys are doing good, and look forward to seeing you all in person someday again.
Yeah, hopefully sooner than later. We
Absolutely.
cannot wait to get Warrant back here in the Northeast. So hopefully sooner than later. But
Yeah.
we'll be in touch, man.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Eric, thank you so much.
Yeah, you too, buddy. Have
Thanks,
a good
Eric.
one. Take
You
care.
too. Take
Have a
care.
great night.
Bye-bye.
Cool. There you go, folks. Eric Turner from
How cool
Warrant.
is he, man? He is such a great guy.
You know what? On the podcast version of this, we're going to have to stick that Bruce song in there somewhere. It'll probably
Right.
sound a little awkward since the interviews. Let's do this. Let's play. I said I'd play that Bruce song. Let's do that Bruce Kulick song with Gene's son
Simmons?
singing, and then we'll come back, and then we'll maybe do a Warrant song.
I think that's a great plan.
Here we go. All right. So this is for anybody on the stream. This is for the podcast version.
So you guys got to see a behind-the-scenes moment of us doing what we call host reps. So
Right.
Mark is always thinking, he's a producer, he's a professional. He is doing the host reps and setting them up so that it's going to be a lot easier to put the podcast version together.
Right on.
Right?
All right. So I'll come out of that. A little Bruce Kulick here on Talking Metal. That's Nick Simmons on vocals on that one. And now, John, Mr. Rainmaker, one of my favorite songs off of Cherry Pie. Can we play that right now?
Absolutely. Let's hear Mr. Rainmaker by Warrant from the great record Cherry Pie.
A little Warrant here on Talking Metal. And now we are just in I guess this is wrap-up mode, right, John?
Yeah, well, we didn't do some of our normal things that we do, and I know this is going on. Let's have a Talking Metal toast.
Yeah.
Okay, right here. Hold on. I
never know,
once
like, these guys, like, you know, this is only my second beer of the night, but if people are cool, like they're talking and it's an interview, and then all of a sudden you see Mark go like this.
I think that should be our thing. Even
Yeah, I mean, because that's
it's,
generally what's happening when I do audio interviews. It's just that
right. They just don't know.
yeah. So I hope they're not like, oh, this guy's like, you know, drinking, because Bruce looked good, man. I mean,
Yeah, Bruce looked really cool.
healthy. I like the little goatee and the hair. It looks good. Eric looking good.
Yeah.
You're looking good.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I need to wear a cool hat like Eric was wearing, because he's got the glasses, the black hair, and I
Right.
need one of those.
Well, you know,
Cool
he
hats.
always got that look, and on stage he wears the glasses. And I'll tell you, I was at M3 a couple of years ago, and Eric came up to me, and he didn't have the hat on, he didn't have the glasses on. He was like, "Hey, Mark, how are you?" And I was like, "Hey," and it took me like about 15
Like a second.
Yeah, and because I'm so always used to seeing him on stage where he's got glasses and
Right.
and stuff. And that one time I remember that we were talking, it literally took me a couple seconds to be, oh shit, it's Eric Turner.
I've had situations where I was somewhere to meet a specific person and they showed up looking different than I thought they were looking. They came up to me and like, "Hey, John," and I'm like, "Who are you?" Like one time, I swear to God that happened, and I was like,
Right.
took me like a minute to realize, oh my God, you're the person I came here to see. So that was pretty funny. But so I want to
let's
promote
talk about
this Dash vodka, which is my favorite vodka, thanks to my cousins Hank and Rennie from Texas. And everybody go to dashvodka.com and and Google it and look for it on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. And it's really, really good. And you can see I have it on display here. And I just think it's great. And I seriously do. I actually am drinking it myself. And I had a martini the other day, but today I'm just having like a nice glass of Dash.
All right, so let's talk about that. Dash vodka. Emily loves vodka martinis. And, you know, we've been stuck at home. We ordered the olives. We ordered some vodka. Unfortunately, it wasn't Dash vodka. I know you're getting some of that.
Yeah,
but
I'm going to get you guys a supply of that.
I pulled out my drink mixer book and I Googled it and I compared different recipes on how to make a good dirty martini. And I made it for her. I take it up to her in bed and takes a sip and no good. No good.
You didn't like it?
Yeah. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong. How do you make a martini?
Okay, so this is how I would do a dirty martini.
Martinis.
Dirty martini. Here's what you do. You and I learned this from a person that was once a road manager for Kiss. You take the vermouth and you
dry
want to
vermouth?
use dry vermouth, not sweet vermouth, and you
that's what I got.
You pour a little bit in the cap.
Mm-hmm.
And then you and I'm not sure if technically you're supposed to put this in a dirty martini, but I like it. So you fill up the cap of vermouth. It's very small. It's smaller than this cap, and you put that in the shaker. And it depends on if it's going to be on the rocks or up, as they say. But either way, use about a cap full of vermouth. Now, the people who are like really, there's some people that just, they pour the vermouth in the martini glass and they just dump it. And then whatever vermouth is left in there after you dump it, that's all they want. But I like the cap full. So then what you do is you pour that in, you pour your how much ever vodka you want, and then you want to get a little olive juice in there if you want it to be a dirty martini. That's what makes it dirty, the olive juice.
Now, the olive juice, can I just pour it out of the olive jar?
Yes.
Do I need to buy? Because that's what I did. She said,
"Yeah, I don't know
how much olive juice."
Just a little bit, like a splash, I would say.
And that makes it dirty.
That makes it dirty. Depending on how dirty is how much olive juice.
Now, are there different kinds of olives? Because maybe we have the wrong kinds of olives.
You might have the wrong olives. Like, so you don't want to use like Kalamata Italian style olives. You want to use cocktail olives and
I think that's our problem. Because I just ordered some like olives from like Fresh, Amazon Fresh or something, like just regular olives. Yeah, they're not cocktail.
Yeah,
olives.
if you use like I in childhood I would not ever even think of eating an olive. However, as an adult man, I like olives. But there are what I call Italian style olives. There are Greek olives. There are a lot of different olives, and this is called Food Network astronomy style. Olive talk. Anyway, so I like when we were talking to Bruce and we were getting real technical. He's like, guys, half of the Facebook people just like turned it off at that point. That was funny. But this is one of my parts of the show that I like when we talk about random things. So basically, Mark, I'm going to have to tell you and make a recommendation of which olives to get. And then you're going to make another one. And I guarantee Emily is going to love it. And here's the thing. If you don't mind, I have a shipment coming to you of Dash. However, if you don't mind, whenever it's okay with Emily and you and the kids, I will do this. I will take New Jersey Transit to Maplewood, New Jersey, and I'll get out and I'll hand it to you, or more, whatever you want. You let me know. I'm ready. I'm ready to risk it. I will put a mask on. I'll wear gloves. And I will be there tomorrow with a bottle of Dash vodka. This one is for you.
Oh, awesome!
Saving this. I don't even keep this out. I just keep it for the podcast version in the video.
Nice. Yeah,
that is yours.
I love it. So let's wrap this up soon. Let's see. But let's should we do another guitar story, or should we do Brush with Greatness, or both?
So guys, I love this. We have Brush with Greatness and guitar stories. How about if I do a quick guitar story and then you do a Brush with Greatness?
Okay, yeah, go for it. How about I'm trying to think which ones we've covered already.
Yeah.
Maybe like what's that one on the very end there?
On which end?
It would be your left. Yeah.
This one.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. This
nice.
is
Okay.
something that's really, really cool. And I hope that my Aunt Joanne or her daughter Jenna or her husband Jeff or my uncle is watching this. This is my Aunt Joanne's Gibson SG.
Wow.
I believe it's a 1972 or 74. And I can't see the serial number right now because it's too dark.
That's been in your family a long time.
Yeah, so this has been in my family since the probably mid to late 70s when my Aunt Joanne, who's my dad's youngest sister, who was super cool. She is one of the people that introduced me to Kiss. She used to manage a great band. And I've been doing this, guys, since I was a little kid. Let me tell you, I've been going to my dad's gigs since, and I've been sitting on Fender amps when I was like 2 years old. And so this guitar has been in the family. And there's an interesting thing about it. And this is this guitar has, I would say the nut width is so small. And I love that because, I have more control. And it has what's called a volute. I used to call it a fulcrum, but it's really called a volute. And not every guitar has a volute, but I love that. It's a little like the way the neck is shaped. This guitar, the neck snapped. And so what does that mean? Let me show you. That means the neck broke. It's now fixed, but look at this guitar.
Right.
This is a Les Paul Goddess. And check this out. I don't know if you can see, but the neck is cracked on the headstock there.
Right,
See that?
Yeah. Yes.
And sometimes with Gibsons, that happens. And or not just with Gibsons, but with because I'm not trying to say that Gibsons are made badly. They're not. They're the best in my opinion. But sometimes that happens with any kind of a guitar. On Ace's Budokan model, right there. On the higher end ones, they come with a snap neck that's fixed. And because his original guitar, the headstock broke, just like it did on this one. But it's a little bit out of tune because I haven't played it for a while, but it's fixed. Sometimes it's even better. There's a great guitarist named Binky Griptite, and he played with, the girl from Europe who sang, she passed away sadly. She had like a real deep, soulful voice.
Oh, Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, yes.
Yeah, girl from Europe.
Yeah, she's from Europe. See, look, Mark and I think so much alike that I can say she's from Europe. She's got a soulful voice. Bam.
Amy Winehouse.
Amy Winehouse, yeah.
Yeah, I loved Amy Winehouse. She was great.
Yeah, Amy Winehouse was great. She accidentally knocked over Binky's Gibson. I think it was a 335 or a 355. The headstock broke. He had it fixed by Gibson, and he thinks it's better after the repair.
Wow.
So here's the thing, guys. If your neck headstock snaps, that doesn't mean it's the end of the world. But look how cool this guitar is. This is, an SG. It's got a Bixby Gibson tremolo.
I love this tremolo, man. That's very cool.
Yeah. They call this a harmonica bridge, which is a really more elaborate bridge than you'll see even on Les Pauls. This is really cool. Paul Stanley used to use this on some of his V's, I believe.
Right.
And I particularly, when you're talking the SG, I love this pickguard style, which is what they would call the 61 reissue. So this was a guitar made in the 70s that had a 1961 style pickguard. And you know who else had a guitar very similar to this? Adrian Smith.
Ah, really?
Okay. Of Iron Maiden. If you go back to old Maiden photos, I am
sounds familiar.
9% sure that he had a guitar like this. And it's a dark brown walnut style finish, which a lot of SGs are more of a heritage cherry. This is a brown one. So this is an amazing guitar, Gibson SG. set
Played by a
neck,
lot of different people, including
1970s.
Angus Young and
Angus
Tony
Young.
Iommi, yeah.
Yeah, Tony Iommi, Angus Young, great guitar.
Yeah.
So thank you for Mark for picking that one out, because this one has
But
a
every
great
story, every guitar there has a story. I mean, Bruce called it, and we've already been doing that. So good stuff, John. I will fill you in on a brush with greatness. Any specific brush with greatness you'd like me to?
Let's think of a brush. What I got an idea. Why don't we tell?
Name anyone. I probably have a story about them.
Okay. Well, what I was going to do is, why don't we talk about, since we're talking with Bruce, why don't we tell a little bit of the story of us in Providence, Rhode Island in 1987?
Yeah, it was
because that was definitely a brush with greatness.
Yeah.
From back in the day. If you have a newer one, we can do that. But
I got tons of them. But
you know what? I want to do two.
Here's what I remember.
I want to briefly talk about that.
You, our friend Rob and Tom Mafucci, who I'm actually friends with on Facebook.
Yep, me, right, Rob Fiorentino, Tom Mafucci, and you went from Boston to Providence.
Now, I believe Ted Nugent was opening.
Correct, he was.
But we missed him. We got there too late. That's what at least that's how I remember it.
Right. I saw him other shows on that tour, but
we missed him because I was very disappointed. We missed him. Again, I believe this is late '87. I had a Kodak disc camera with me. Now, if you don't know what those are,
I know what those are. Right.
This weird camera that you put, instead of like putting a roll of film in, you put this disc in.
Correct.
And I loved that camera. I had, at that point, I probably had it 3 or 4 years. It was great. I took a lot of cool, actually good photos with that camera. So anyways, for whatever reason, I had that with me, and I was nervous about having it in, and I snuck it into the concert.
Right.
And we saw Kiss play, and it was a great show. And I took pictures at the concert. There was some that Gene even saw me with the camera and was like giving me faces and stuff. I have, which I should scan in because I have tons of photos.
Yeah, totally.
And I had maybe 1 or 2 photos left on the disc after the concert. And I purposely did that because I was like, well, what if we, because we were talking, we should try to meet them afterwards. What if we meet them? And I believe we'd taken a train down. Does that sound right?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, we used to take Amtrak from Boston to Providence, Rhode Island, which is about an hour train ride.
And so we went back. We somehow found out Rob was talking to somebody who worked at the place, and he got the hotel that they were staying at. And we went to the hotel and hung out there, and there were a few fans there hanging out. Not many, but sure enough, Bruce walked in, said hello to him. He I don't remember having a major conversation with him, but he was just kind of like, hey, how are you? And kept walking. Erik came in, and we shook hands with him, and I got his autograph. I still have it in the Crazy Nights program that I had bought. And eventually, who shows up? Paul Stanley. And we got that iconic photo that I've posted probably 9,000 times on Facebook.
Yeah, me too.
Of John and myself with Paul Stanley. What do you remember about that night, John? Yeah,
that was just such an amazing photo. And what I remember about that was the setup of the photo was you, Rob Fiorentino, who I love, Tom Mafucci, who I love too, you, and I'm not sure if there was anybody else with us. And then I wasn't there, and I remember Paul Stanley himself yelled, "John, come here!" And
because we were trying to get you. We were trying to get you into the shot. And Paul was so freaking cool that night. He was just talking to us, and I was like, "Would it be all right to get a photo?" He's like, "Absolutely." And we're like, "John, get in here." And then Paul Stanley, you're right, goes, "John, get over here."
Right. And I was like, oh my God, Paul Stanley's coming. So I come over, he pulls me down. And at the very moment he pulls me down, and then we get that classic shot, and it was amazing. It's a great shot. We've posted a million times. We'll post it again in the show notes.
Right.
And I'm sure if you just look through my Facebook, you'll see it, or your Facebook. And the sad thing though, is that Tom Fucci and Rob
Right.
Fiorentino got like cropped out, not by us, but by the
The
photographer,
random
whoever had your
person
camera.
took the photo, which was like some bellhop or something at the hotel.
Yeah.
So here's the deal, guys. So we get this picture, and John and Rob and Tom were like, "Oh my God, we got a picture with Paul Stanley!" Like it was like high five celebration, and this is before the days of selfies,
Right.
And then we missed the last train back to Boston. We basically end up staying there all night, I think, until the next train the first train back in the morning.
In the morning,
we
right?
Wander around Providence. We ended up at a police station.
Yes.
People there because we thought
And we weren't doing anything wrong. Like we weren't like partying. We weren't at a bar.
We were looking for a safe place to hang out for.
We went to a Dunkin' Donuts until they kicked us out of a Dunkin' Donuts, and then our next best place to go was the police station, and we just went there because we just wanted to be indoors and safe.
And they let us in. They were cool. So anyways, we get the next train back at like 5 a.m. The first train out of Providence to Boston. And in these days, pre-selfie cell phone days, you had to take the film to like a CVS or a Store 24, I think is where I took it.
Right. Store 24.
And like 4 or 5 days later, your photos would come in. So anyways, like a week after the show, we get the photos back. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be great. The four of us with Paul Stanley. And I opened the photos, and the guy who took the photo cropped out
Rob and Tom,
basically from the shot. And they were so freaking pissed. And meanwhile, it's like a close-up of John, Paul Stanley, and myself. And it's an epic classic picture of the three of us. But unfortunately for those guys,
if I knew, I used to have it on the wall, but when I did on the other room, but when I did like a little remodeling, I took it off the wall, or else I'd just run and get it right now. But just stay tuned to our Facebook and I'll show it.
We'll post it in the show notes on talkingmetal.com for sure. Yeah. And so that was definitely a epic.
That was an amazing brush with greatness. Mark, I want to just take 1 minute to do one thing that I teased. That's what they say in the TV industry. Teased on Facebook, and I said that I had a surprise. A little surprise. Some people are expecting something really big. I even have notes, okay? I have a lot of notes. I have a surprise for the people in my hometown of Johnstown. Actually, I'm from Windber, Pennsylvania. Windber, named after a mining company, after a family named Burr Wind, but Windber. Just like I was from Windber, named after Burr Wind, and then I went to Berkeley College of Music, named after Lee Burke. So whatever I do, you have to have a name, and then you switch it, and then I do it. So if something in the future comes out with that two-name thing, I will do it, no matter what it is. So it's programmed. But okay, I got two surprises. So I got a good one, and the good one's really good. The minor one is, look what I found, guys. I got to turn this way. Johnstown, PA, The Alibi. This is a bar in Johnstown, PA. And I, at one point, got a shirt from them. And it's written in a similar font to my favorite hat, Belly Up. I only wear Belly Up hats, plus one additional camo hat that my Uncle Snook bought me. But anyway, Belly Up is in Solana Beach, California. I have like 10 Belly Up hats. And I'm wearing The Alibi to promote businesses in Johnstown and Windber and Bedford and Altoona and Richland and all the areas, Somerset, Pennsylvania, all my favorite places. So that is cool. Now, here's the other thing. Like It will be opening.
Like It is John's band, for anybody who doesn't know.
Like It is my band, led by the infamous Jamie Ross, rounded out by me, Mike Lincoln, who drives a Lincoln, on the drums, and we have two bassists, Hide, who lives in Japan, and Dave Messenger, who lives in New York, and sometimes either one of those guys plays. And we are going to be going back out on the road, if the world permits us to do it, with Ace Frehley, and we are playing the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, one of my favorite cities, area. It's called Warrendale, Pennsylvania, a club called Jurgles Rhythm Grill. handled by Drusky Entertainment, which is a big place, a big entertainment company led by Brian Drusky. They do a lot of great venues
When's
in
the show?
Pittsburgh. The show is August 6th. So here's the thing. It's a Thursday night. We're going to be traveling from New York. It could happen. We hope. But anyway, if it doesn't happen on August 6th, it'll get rescheduled and we'll do it. But right now, it's booked for August 6th, Jurgles Rhythm Grill in Warrendale, Pennsylvania, which is just a little bit north of one of my favorite cities, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So how cool is that?
That's with Ace Frehley.
Ace Frehley, yeah.
Right, cool.
And then
opening up for him.
yeah, we have two other shows that are on the books right now, as they would say. One in Lawrenceburg, Indiana, which is the Cincinnati market, opening for Ace at a Lawrenceburg event center, and there's a big casino there. And then we have another show, that's in October, another show also in October in Atlantic City, New Jersey at, I believe it's a Hard Rock Hotel. And that was supposed to be June 5th, but we moved that to October. So here's the thing, guys. We did 20-some shows with Ace in 2019, and in 2020, things are just strange. So we've got 3 on the books. We've got 1 more on the books that I can't yet announce. So stay tuned for my Facebook and all that kind of stuff, to the Like It website and the acefrehley.com website, and we'll fill you in on all these other shows. But so far we have 3 confirmed, a 4th confirmed with Ace that we can't yet announce. So that's part 2 of the announcement. Believe it or not, the announcement was that I found an Alibi shirt in my closet promoting my town. Right. The secondary announcement
hometown
is
pride, man. Hometown pride.
Yeah, hometown pride. Like It will be, and it's right by a place called Market Basket. That's a grocery store. So I you know what? I should own a grocery store like my friend Mark Lamantia, because I like grocery stores. I like food. I just had a steak order. I had 10 steaks come in. You know how much that cost? $160. And that's when you buy them in bulk. Like $16 a steak. I don't know. If I go to Ruth Chris, it's.
Where do you cook them? You cook them right in your.
I cook them. Yeah. So I have multiple methods of cooking. If it's a smaller steak, like maybe a strip, and it's not real thick, I can cook that on my Cuisinart griddler, which is sort of like a high-end George Foreman style grill meets a panini maker. If it's a thick filet mignon style or like a $30 or $20 ribeye, I will first sear it in a cast iron skillet, and then I will finish it in the oven, because that's what I do. I'm a wannabe chef, rock chef.
Well, listen, John, we've been 2 hours on the dot here, so
perfect.
I think that's a good place to wrap it. And I'm still, unfortunately, hearing my kids pounce around upstairs, which is kind of upsetting. But I'm going to go check what's going on. I just prefer
see what's happening. See what's happening. Let me know if I can deliver the Dash vodka to you. I'll be right out there tomorrow. You tell me. I'll be on the train. I'll meet you at the Maplewood station. We could do a shot together. One other thing, guys, I just want to show my parents this. My mom is a super Elvis fan. Check this out. I am doing COVID Elvis style sideburns. By the end of this, they could be down to here. And
yeah, I mean, my hair is grown so long. I usually have good hair. I usually have the grunge, bop haircut, but this is beyond the bop. Like,
Mark, that might be the longest I've ever seen your hair on the top.
It's freaking.
You're lucky.
Ridiculous.
You have good hair. You're never losing your hair. Let me tell you that.
It's ridiculous.
Never going bald.
Well, thank you.
There's a great
I'd like it like just a little shorter, but I'm gonna wait.
Really?
Whatever.
One time I was up at Berkeley speaking, and there was a kid that didn't want to pay for a haircut, and he goes, John, you seem like you might know about hair. Would you cut my hair? I looked like I was in White Lion at the point of blonde curls, and I cut the poor kid's hair really bad. So you don't want me attempting to trim that.
Well, yeah, I'll let it go for now, but it's.
It looks cool. I think it looks cool. It's rock and roll.
Thank you.
Rock and roll forever.
Well, it's always great hanging with you, John. And wow, it was jam-packed tonight with Bruce.
Yeah, really a super show.
Yeah.
I want to thank both
great guitar players.
Yeah, both of those guys are great guitar players, and I want to really send a special thanks to Bruce Kulick and Erik Turner for spending the time with us tonight. We couldn't have asked for a better show, and I think it was great. Thank you.
Cool. And now did the theme music play at the beginning?
I believe the theme music played, but the little slide that said our name,
Right.
I don't think that happened. And
I didn't hear
guys,
the theme music, but
you didn't hear the theme music? I thought it played. We're still trying to work with the technical aspects of this.
We'll check the report.
Really need an engineer. We'll find out when we watch this Facebook thing back, and hopefully everything is, it says it's recording, so that's good. And it says live on Facebook. So I think we're doing good.
Yeah, we're definitely live on Facebook.
Here's the thing that we didn't do, and I feel bad, is that when you're watching the video, you can't, and you're trying to get involved in the questions. It's difficult to answer the Facebook.
Oh my God! Yeah, there's 137 comments. I haven't looked at any.
So here's the thing: we really appreciate everybody who are commenting, and
Kevin Riley, Joseph Boback, Ron.
Oh, Joe Boback from Winburn. His dad was in the band with my dad. Amazing guy. Ed John Janishek from Alaska. Kevin Riley, Ron Osborne, Shauna Jones. That's all I can see on this particular screen.
She worked with us, right?
Shauna Jones worked with us, right? That was Shauna from the library.
Yep.
How do I get back?
It says 137 comments, and it's 146 comments. My God.
Yeah, we got a lot of comments.
I don't even know how to read them all.
I know. For some reason, guys, on my phone, I can't see all of the comments. It won't let me scroll through the comments. You know why? Because we're live right now. That's why.
Oh, okay.
So when we're not live,
scroll through them and check them out. All your comments will be.
Michael McVeigh. Michael McVeigh does a great show called Coffee Talk with Stefan Adika and Mike Pisano, and it's great, and it's really fun. Just caught the episode with Chip Zanoff, and they have the same thing where sometimes it's hard to see the comments.
Yeah.
And Ed, I'm glad I pronounced your name properly. Sherry said we're going to have to fix that ASAP. And Sherry is from the Outer Banks, and she, along with my good friend Michelle, were watching together last week, and they're going to figure out how to fix that comments for us.
Sherry, thank you for watching. Thanks to everyone who watched. If you don't subscribe to the YouTube page, please do so. It's youtube.com/talkingmetal. We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, which might allow us to, it's a long story, but we need to get to 10,000 subscribers, and we're nowhere close. So anyone who wants to subscribe to the YouTube page, please do youtube.com/talkingmetal. And that'll do it for tonight. Yeah,
another shout out to Billy May from the Electric Magic Sideshow, a band that it was his band that I joined, and also from Kiss Nation. That's his real band.
Kiss Nation kicks your. I mean, talk about an amazing show. One of the best, if not the best, Kiss tribute band out there. Check them out, Kiss Nation.
Absolutely. And we had Billy. We were lucky enough to have Billy sing "Hotter Than Hell" with us on one of our Talking Metal episodes.
Yeah, definitely one of my favorite Talking Metal jams for sure.
Which was really
all right,
cool.
Man. I got to run, but always great hanging with you, John. And thank you, Facebook friends.
Excellent. Thanks, everybody. And Michael, did I say Stefan Adika? That's what I thought I said. Yeah, I love your show, Michael, and Stefan and Mike and all your other guests. Corey, I saw Corey Leviton from Circus Magazine, who I knew from back in the 90s when Enough's Enough was hanging out in New York. And so it was nice to see him on there. The show is really cool. John, another person who was watching. So thank you, everybody who has tuned in tonight. As Mark said, subscribe to our YouTube page. Come back next Friday night. We're going to have another show. We will announce our guests soon. And we really appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right.
This is the new sign. Okay. Bye, guys. Take care.
All right, John. Cool. I got to run.
I got to run. We're still on, but we're going to end right now.